where you got the core gamers of all ages who can talk to each other and get the word of mouth spreading on it. It can sometimes be, especially with the ones who grew up with Intellivision, it can be a little bit, the negative side of it is the ones who grew up with it and are real core gamers and are still playing the stuff today, when we come out with a version, if it's not right on spot, perfectly accurate, they will go on to Amazon.com or whatever and just say, 0 rating. Now we had these plug-and-play units. They had to be reprogrammed, so they weren't exactly like the original game. We sold 4 million of them. People loved them. But the hardcore Mattel were going, the sound on Astro Smash isn't right. That's not the Astro Smash sound. This thing is bogus. 1 star on Amazon. So we're going, give it a break, give it a break. But so there's some people who want these games to be exactly the same. And then there's a problem because some of the people from back then, they hated the hand controller on the Intellivision. They're saying, oh, the Intellivision is terrible because the hand controller is no good. So we try to like change it, make it easier to play. And they go, this is no good. It doesn't use the original hand controllers. So, you know, you can't win with some people. But it's nice, as new people have been introduced to it, we're finding that it's really quite, yeah, it's nice to know that they're holding up. The first inkling we had of it was we gave a copy, when we first came out with our first PC version, we gave a copy to a newspaper editor. You know, here, review this and everything. And it was Christmas of 1998. And he took it home, and he saw me after and said, "Ah, you and that stupid game. My kids have been playing bowling all bowling? They were playing bowling on Intellivision?" He said, "Oh yeah, they loved it." And I said, "We got a market here we didn't know about. These 8-year-old kids, they want to play this stuff." The market that we don't have generally is the market for the consoles. The people who want to play, you know, a game where you play for 40 hours and you pause, and you know, the PlayStation 3 people. But the younger audience who wants a casual game, it's maybe a little bit simpler, and the older audience who remembers these games. We're coming out on DS later this year. And we think the DS is perfect for us because that's the demographic of the DS. You've got kids love it. You've got older people who've been playing Brain Age and some of that stuff. They remember nostalgically Intellivision. So the market of people like 14, 15 years old to 24 years old, we'll let them play Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. But plus we're on the iPhone now and the iPad, because these games are perfect for when you're waiting in the doctor's office or something like that, to pull one of those up and play it. Yeah, you don't want to play, you know, God of War or something like that when you're sitting there. Yeah, you're sitting there at the post office or something. You know, you can play one of our games, you know, in 2 or 3 minutes, and that was fun. Yeah, there's a whole casual market out there that's just, luckily we're tapping into. And I keep telling people the most played computer or video game of all time is Solitaire on Windows. You know, it's like, that didn't have any artificial intelligence in it. So I think we're kind of hitting that market for people who want something fast, and it is a little bit nostalgic when you see the blocky graphics. Some people look at that. You know, that's the other thing that was funny with that editor, that newspaper editor who saw the cartoon, is when his kids first saw it, they see the blocky graphics and everything, they laugh at it. That was fun. And they start playing it. Oh, it'd be fun. Yeah, this kid who was in here earlier playing Burger Time. We're having a great time. Okay, it's blocky graphics and music and everything from 1983. But it's a fun game. It's an addictive game still, and it's fun. Of course, it's a project, you know, near and dear to my heart because I worked there. But I think there were fun games then. I think people find they're fun games now, and I just think it's great that, you know, Joe's put together a place like this where people can, you know, come by after school and hang out, or on the weekend, and still play these games. Because the thing is, Intellivision first really promoted the sports games, and the reason why they promoted sports games was back in 1980 when they introduced the Intellivision. Nobody knew what a video game was supposed to look like. You know, you're advertising on TV to millions of people. For the average family, what's a video game supposed to look like? But they know what a baseball diamond should look like, and they know what a football field should look like. And so by showing Atari football and Intellivision football, you don't see a football field on the Atari, but you do on the Intellivision one. So it made it very easy to say, here's Atari, here's Intellivision. Which one do you think looks like baseball? Which one do you think looks like football? So they sold a lot that way. The thing, though, that was really big in arcades were space games. So they started Star Strike and Space Spartan. We had Astro Smash and Space Armada. And so then we got that then started a big thing with commercials, and here's their space game, and here's our space game, and then we had talking games. Space Spartan was actually the first one that actually had voice in it, and so there were a lot of firsts with Intellivision. So we got a lot of publicity back in the '80s because of that. It was really a battle. The whole thing was when Atari started, it was kind of like this curiosity, but then when Mattel, which was the largest toy company in the world, started competing, then like all the press started taking notice. This isn't just some little fad. This is a major business now. And so they really started covering this war between Atari and Intellivision, and then ColecoVision, and then the computer games, and the VIC-20, and the Commodore 64, and then when of course the Apple II and the IBM PC and the support for that, it just really became a huge thing back then. And it all crashed in the '80s, and then Nintendo and Sega came to the United States. But the thing was, everybody got out of the business because they thought, well, it was just a fad, nobody cares about these things. And Intellivision, the director at Mattel for marketing for Intellivision, he was the one guy who was able to look at the numbers and say, the industry crashed because everybody got into it and they're creating terrible games and all that. But the demand for video games actually went up during that period of time. People wanted the video games. They just couldn't find the good ones. There were too many games on the shelves. So he's the one who bought Intellivision from Mattel and started the company. He was the only one selling video games in the United States in 1975. And he was doing really well because he was right. There was a market. It wasn't a fad. People today still want it. It was just they didn't figure out how to properly make money off of it. Well, the secret was, and it was Nintendo that figured it out, was the people who make the hardware have to also control making the software.
They got in trouble with it.
Well, they got in trouble with it, but the thing is, in Europe, they've challenged it a bit, and it's monopolistic and all that. They could do the same thing in the United States, but nobody wants to challenge it because it works. The system works. If you're a third-party company, you can make a game for the Xbox, but Microsoft has to approve it, and Microsoft will manufacture the disc for it. So you will make money, but they will make money. And see, all the companies that were making games for the Atari 2600 or the Intellivision back in the 80s, they didn't give any money to Intellivision. So Mattel and Atari were manufacturing these consoles, but they made no money off of all the games that people were making for those consoles. They were only making money on the ones they made themselves. So every time somebody made a game like Pitfall, here's Atari making a console and really not making any money off of it. It's the old thing from Gillette, you give away the razors, but you sell the blades, you make your money off the blades. So the consoles were being manufactured almost for cost. The Intellivision, when it first came out, was $300, but by 1983 we were selling for $70. So you're making almost no money off the hardware, so you have to make the money off the software. But if you've got companies like iMagic and Activision and all these other companies that came in, and they are making the money off the software, then you making the hardware, you're losing money. So that's why they got out. That's why the whole thing pulled the plug on it. And then Nintendo figured out, well, we'll let them make their games, but we want our cut. We'll make it proprietary, so they can't manufacture discs or cartridges for our system without getting a license from us. And that system has really worked. So every game, no matter who makes it, for the GameCube or for the DS or for the 360 or for the PS2, every game that's manufactured, the hardware maker, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they'll get their piece of it. And that's kept everybody happy. And it may not be legal fully. It may violate some antitrust or some monopolistic thing. But I don't think anybody really wants to challenge it very much because they don't want to see another crash like happened in 1983 where no one was making money. This way, everybody gets their piece. Everybody seems to be happy. And it's worked well. It's worked well since Nintendo introduced it in the United States in about 1986. Yeah, so it's worked well.
I'm going to end that there.
Okay. Bye. Fun talking to you.